Welcome to Wellness Spring Show. I'm delighted to introduce you to a remarkable soul, Gerald Taylor, a cannabis pioneer with 50 years of experience and a passion for hemp healing. Gerald creates powerful balms and leads workshops to show people how to take their health in their own hands. He's unlocking the secrets of hemp for nutrition, pain relief, and total well-being, transforming lives along the way. So get ready for a true health game changer and discover the power of this extraordinary plant. Welcome, Gerald, to Wellness Spring. It's so lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you, Beverly, and it's really awesome to be here.
It was such a pleasure meeting you at the iHemp New South Wales Field Day. You, Simonetta, Crystal, and all the Northern Rivers team really brought something special to that gathering. And I'd love to start by going down memory lane and taking us back before the products and before the research. What first drew you to hemp? And what sparked your passion for working with the plant?
Okay, hemp has always been my muse. Hemp, the hemp plant, the cannabis plant, has been my teacher and my link to the plant world, I guess. Cannabis has opened up the plant world for me and made it understandable and introduced me to a lot of her friends, which are the other herbs in the plant world.
That's beautiful. And what other herbs are you using?
Oh my goodness, it's huge. It's a growing number of plants that we're using every week. It's so abundant. Our little farm is so abundant that every week we're coming across a new plant that we're either growing or is growing itself on the farm that we're incorporating in the work that we do. And this is such a broad field that we stepped into, and such a new field that everything we're doing is new, and everything we're doing is exciting and has its own unique area of expertise. For instance, rosemary. I can't speak highly enough of rosemary. What a magnificent plant. And rosemary and cannabis work together, hand in glove. They work together as a team to do certain things. And this is the way that cannabis works. It has its own powers and its own properties, but where it really shines is utilizing and conducting an orchestra of other chemicals and enzymes into being really useful. It coordinates things and balances them. And that's been the exciting part of the journey for me, I have to say, watching how this remarkable plant is even more remarkable when it links with its friends, its other beings that live on this realm that we live in.
Great. And I think, if I remember correctly, that you said at the talk that it amplifies the quality. So, for example, if you're using rosemary, it would amplify the benefits.
Absolutely. But with all the other things we use, I just took rosemary out of the air because that's one of the plants that we grow and incorporate into the things that we do. But if you take, for instance, magnesium, which is a mineral, not even a plant, but if you incorporate magnesium into your endocannabinoid system, which you do through the cannabis plant, all of a sudden you've got a really powerful product. You've got a magnesium that will get to every part of your body and will light up. It's remarkable how much better it makes things work. It's the reason that 100 years ago and previous to that, nearly all of our medications were they used cannabis as a carrier. They called it Indian hemp, and it was used as a carrier to bring in other herbal and mineral and whatever recipes that they had, whatever ingredients that they had, to bring them into the body, because they didn't know why it was doing it, but they knew it was doing it. We've only learned in the last 25 years that we have an endocannabinoid system that can only be accessed with cannabinoids, those that we make in our own body and those phytocannabinoids made by the plant. And it's only been a very short time that we've understood the mechanism in our body that does that. Previous to that, people realized it was doing it, but they didn't know how. But until the pharmaceutical companies came along and took this beautiful plant away from us, everybody knew this was the base of our herbal medicines, Indian hemp. And if you talk with any herbalists that studied the old works, they'll all tell you Indian hemp was what they used to get it into your body, to get it onto your body, into your body, to make it work. We've missed out on that for 100 years, but we're getting it back now.
And can you delve in a bit deeper? Because you mentioned, us making our own cannabinoids inside and the plants. Can you?
Okay. Yes. A bit deeper? Certainly. So we have a number of systems in our body that do different things. The system called the endocannabinoid system is throughout the body. It's throughout all our nerves and all our messenger parts of the body, the parts that send the messages through the body. It's in that, but it's also in our musculature. It's in our soft tissue. It's in our bones. It's a part that's this system, this balancing system, this inner balancing system, which is activated by cannabinoids. Endocannabinoids mean cannabinoids that we make in our own body. These aren't the cannabinoids that come from the plant. We make these same chemicals in our own body to a very small degree to activate our endocannabinoid system. It's not just humans. It's all animals with feet and a heartbeat. We've all got an endocannabinoid system, and that's what regulates the heat of our body. It regulates our heartbeats and our blood pressure and all of the things that run our body. The plant synthesizes the same chemical as we make in our body, exactly the same, and the same as birds make in their body and other mammals make in their body. It's the same system, and the plant makes in its in the resin that it produces the key that opens up the endocannabinoid system. So for health and therapeutic purposes, it's a most amazing plant. Very, very useful. There are other plants that produce endocannabinoids, that produce cannabinoids, but cannabis is the one that produces the most and the purest.
That's amazing. And how can we get the message out, so that people, because, many people don't understand what the benefits of hemp is or cannabis. So how could we get for it to fully understand the true healing potential? So how can we get this message out?
I think the way that I'm trying to get the message out is by in cooperation with the plant, and I really do. I focus on the plant and what the plant is trying to tell me, what the plant is trying to teach me before I get started on making anything. I truly believe that we've come here lately. This plant, the cannabis plant, was around hundreds of millions of years before we were in its full formed grandeur. It was already working with the birds and the marsupial creatures and not so much marsupial, but the mammalian creatures all across the planet. It was there before we were, a long time before we were, and in my heart, I know that we have been directed by the plant world in whatever way, by Mother Nature, if you like, to be what we are, to go in the directions that we go in. And we're making a lot of mistakes at the moment as a species, but I do believe we're coming back from that, and that we'll do it through the plant world. I think we have to. The plants are a lot greater than we are. When I'm looking at the picture behind you there, and for one little you, there's a trillion plants I can see right there.
Yeah, so for the listeners, I've got my people who are on audio, got a picture of my farm behind. And as you're talking about plants, is it the plant itself, the way it's grown, or how it is used that makes good hemp oil, for example?
So, the biggest problem that cannabis has had in the last 100 years is that the high THC cannabis plant gets you stoned. It discombobulates you, if you like. It makes your head spin, and it gets you stoned. And this has been the big negative for cannabis, because 99% of people aren't interested in that getting stoned. They want good health. The plant can bring you good health without the stone. So I've focused my work particularly on topicals. So if using cannabis, whether it has CBD, THC, CBG, whatever cannabinoids it's got in it, taking it through the skin means that it can't get you stoned anyway. There's no negative effects from it. But if you've got the right penetrance with it to get it through the skin, and here's more plants for you, peppermint gum, most potent penetrant in the world. If you add that to your mix, you can get your cannabinoids to go as deeply as you want to into the organism, into the body, and find the endocannabinoid receptors that will take it in, and without any risk of intoxication or even like breaking the law. There's no laws being broken when you do that. There's no one's having any fun apart from feeling better. And as long as you can do that, I think we've been doing it for 20 years now, and we've had no trouble at all legally, but none at all. As long as we can provably make life better for the person that's using it, and they're not getting intoxicated from it, there doesn't seem to be much problem. But the biggest negative with cannabis is that it gets you stoned, as far as the therapeutic side of it go. And it's the reason that it's become so prescribed. It's the reason that it's become a criminal, is because it gets you stoned. And really, that's such a small part of what that plant does. That plant will touch every part of your body in a positive way.
Oh, that's wonderful news to hear, because I'm sure, as soon as I said we're growing hemp, loads of people were saying to me, oh, I'll come and visit you and have a little smoke. And we're like, no, it's,
Doesn't work like that.
Exactly. And I love the way you mentioned earlier about how the plants have chosen you and your divine connection with nature, and also your commitment to using it topically on the skin, because you mentioned trillions of trees behind me. Well, we have trillions of pores on our skin, as you know. So as an aromatherapist,
biggest organ in the body.
Exactly. So this is the quickest way to get it into your skin and into your system via the skin. So why is it so important to control and honor every step of that journey? Because it is a beautiful sacred journey, applying the lotions and potions you make.
Yes, it's love. I love my job. I do. I wake up whistling. Playing with these beautiful plants, and then playing with me. I mean, I've got to say, I'm the instrument in this. I'm being used, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
What can you say for a new person starting out with hemp, as in the chat I mentioned, I'm an aromatherapist and
Yes.
we want to grow our own hemp and I want
Yes.
to make healing balms. So what tips, like what hemp seed should I go for? What distance should we plant them and how far in the ground? We'll start with that first.
Oh, okay. So if you're I would say my first advice is have a name, because there's 65,000 products being made from hemp. 65,000. It's remarkable. So have a name, and it's confusing. So have a name, an aim for where you want to get to. So you're starting out on this journey. The first cab off the rank for me is the pressed leaf juice. So when you're growing your plants in the very early stages, they're covered in beautiful green leaves. If you take them and put them through a cold press juicer and drink them as shots the same way as you would wheatgrass, you will cure any stomach or intestinal problems that you have. Remarkable for Crohn's disease, for all of the things that are wrong with people's tummies, all of the antibiotic use and all the rest of it. After one go, you will notice a difference. After a week, you will be feeling completely better. That's from fresh cannabis juice. This is first cab off the rank. That's the first thing that you come across when you're planting your seeds and getting a little crop in. Doesn't matter which cannabis you grow. Yes?
Because we're growing hemp, and I believe we've got a license for hemp, and that you can only have 0.02% of cannabis in that. Is that enough to have those effect?
So that's 0.35% THC is what they stipulate. If you've got in your bud, when they test your flower, if it comes out to having more than 0.35% THC in your plant, they'll look at it closely. If it goes up to 1%, they're going to burn it. But they won't. They haven't so far. They haven't destroyed any crops under 1%. Because they figure that and this is only the THC compound, by the way. So we have plants that are 15, 16, 17% CBD or CBG or whatever, completely legal, absolutely legal, provided because all of the plants have some THC. That's tetrahydrocannabinol, one of the cannabinoids in the plant, the one that gets you stoned. So it's provided that your plants are super low in that, it's actually legal to use it for different things, although not for food and not for medicine without a specific license. But for cosmetics, no worries. Go hard. You can do what you like legally. And that's what we do. We make cosmetics, but people usually buy those cosmetics for the side effects, which are good health. We can't actually do anything therapeutic because we don't have a license for it. But tell that to the people that are getting better from taking it. That's the real test is those who use it. It's not illegal. It doesn't have much THC in it, and none of the stuff we do does. It's all very low THC. So that's kept us out of trouble. And that's really how any hemp growers just get yourself some nice low THC strains. We've got a testing machine here. We'll test them for you, etc. Just to make sure that's all good. But we're really happy that we love doing that.
So on the low amount, I would be able to make a cold pressed juice and drink it. And as you said, it's good for intestinal. Or do you need a higher rate for that?
So I've been completely transparent with the DPI, the Department of Primary Industry, with what we're doing and making shots. So technically, they've said that what we're doing isn't completely kosher, that we've got to get like if we're going to give it to people for therapeutic use, which is shots, drinking it, or in any kind of food form, we need specific licenses. But they've also said that this isn't really what we're doing isn't really a problem for them. And as long as they don't get complaints, that they're not interested in doing anything about it, which is lovely. The DPI have been awesome. We really work well with them, and they seem to be looking to make the hemp industry a very viable thing.
That's great. I know you talked about it at the field day, and I was amazed by how many people have been using your topical products and on their skin and were verifying all the wonderful health benefits that they had. So, like you say, you were not putting those claims, but your clients, people purchasing your products, are talking about remarkable benefits.
Yes, we don't advertise. We just, it's too difficult to advertise. We can get into trouble by doing it. So we don't. We just let our people that enjoy our cosmetics tell their friends. And it works really, really well.
Yeah.
And also we keep our prices low. We make sure that we're producing a farm product for whatever we're producing it for, but we're very cheap, I got to say. That's part of our ethos, is to make it as cheaply as possible. And more than that, to teach people how to make their own. It's so simple.
Thank you.
It's so simple. And we do workshops.
I'm looking forward to being one of your students. Yeah, so tell us about the workshops.
All right. Well, we've been doing grow your own healthcare workshops. Bit provocative, we're talking healthcare here, but we have to do that because we must look after our own health. It's time. We've been putting off our own health and giving it over to a company that's trying to make profits. How dumb? How dumb are we? We must look after our own health. It's like you're looking after your own nutrition, you look after your own health. We must do this. We've got to grow up. And with the breakdown in the way things are going, our pharmaceutical companies are going to be struggling to supply us with these things that we've been taking. And it's time to do it ourselves. For goodness sake. It's only the last 100 years that we've had pharmaceutical companies.
Yes, that's true.
And our health used to be very good.
Yeah. There's so much research out there on dental, for example. In France, where I used to live, there's, I forget how many, but underneath the ground there's about 1,000 skeletons. And people have done research, I'm not sure about there, but people have done research from 100 years and beyond, and they all had good teeth. There wasn't such things as, poor bone health and fillings and so forth. Most people still had their teeth when they died.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
Can you tell us about any oral health? Because you mentioned you're at the very start of making something to improve oral health. Yes.
Well, I believe I gave you a bottle of that product. Have you been using it?
I have, and I love the flavour of it. I'm probably rinsing for about 5-10 minutes because I enjoy the flavour so much. So today I wanted to ask you, with the pipette, how much do you fill it? And I've been taking it once a day, so
we'll get rid of any. It is enough. That taking that remedy once a day will stop gingivitis, will stop tooth infection. It's a Swiss Army knife. It will do many things. So that preparation is made from every culture in the world has a different take on dental care and a different herb that they use for it. For instance, in Africa, all of the African countries use myrrh as anything to do with a mouth problem, gingivitis, toothache, etc. They go for myrrh. The Asians and Europeans use cloves. The Aboriginals use bloodwood, or they call it dragon's blood, and it's the resin from the bloodwood tree. All these different cultures use the different things that they found over thousands of years have been good for their mouth. So we've incorporated all of those into one mix. We've got the myrrh, cloves, dragon's blood, aniseed myrtle, peppermint, all of the different things that have been used for fixing mouth problems. We put them into one mix, and we've added small amounts of CBD cannabis. So that's cannabidiol, about 0.2% in the mix, and that just opens up the receptors in the mouth. And we're finding it's we're getting rave reviews about it, and we haven't actually marketed it yet, but we've sold several hundred bottles in just to our little village. It's been
wow.
Yeah, it's necessary. We need to make our own healthcare, and this is a big start towards it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in any pain, and apparently I have got like an infection. They want to do
a root canal.
Because they said it will degenerate the bone. The bone will recede in that area. And
Yes.
I'm seeing my periodontist next month. So I'm going to ask him to take another x-ray and see if the infection is still there.
Yes, you can get rid of that infection, but it's difficult to get to. So with the root canal, it's the actual root of the tooth which is starting to decay. And getting in there to get to it is quite difficult. If you persist, you can do it. But really, I think if it's really started to be damaged, you're probably going to want to take it out anyway. I think probably, but afterwards, then care for your mouth afterwards, then the mouthwash is going to be really useful. But once it's in that deep, I think you can deal with it, but it's quite difficult.
Okay, thank you. And you also gave Brian some CMC oil.
Yes, comfrey, magnesium, and cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's working well for him?
Yeah, he's finding that his various aches and pains, working on the farm, as you know, is hard work.
Yes.
And we're building a home, so he's doing lots of lifting of concrete and mixing concrete and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been a great help.
Okay, well, I'll get you off something a bit more. That's more for so I designed that one, or the plant designed that one for bone. The comfrey they used to call it bone net, and it repairs breaks and fractures and stuff like that. But it does have great effects on the skin and on the muscles too. And with the magnesium, it works very well. And the whole thing is conducted, if you like, by the cannabis. That's what brings it into your system and gets it to sort of have immediate effect, because it is quite quick. As soon as you put it on, you can feel the relief pretty much instantly, and that's because you're getting into the endocannabinoid system. But I'll have to send you a jar of something that's more. I do a sport balm, which really a lot of old people love it. Older people love it because it really gives them relief in their muscles. And as you get old, like myself, your muscles they do start to ache a fair bit just by themselves. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, is that the one the people were saying the arthritis had disappeared and from
so that's
the oil or the pain?
We use kunzia for that one. For anything to do with arthritis, there's this amazing Australian herb called kunzia, and that again, when you add that to a cannabis medication or a remedy, the kunzia gets into your system instantly, and I love watching it work. It just makes my day. People who are in a lot of arthritic pain, and just watching them smile, they just get this sort of silly smile on their face when they put it on, and it's so lovely. It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously found your passion and pathway, and it's really beautiful the way that you've found this intersection with the plant wisdom and modern science. How do you bridge those two worlds?
Oh, well, I don't really come from the scientific world. I'm a lot more from, I'm a farmer and I dig holes and plant things. So my experience is experiential. What I know of the plant is from planting it, growing it, processing it, playing with it, seeing what she will do, seeing what she wants to do, and going with it. But it really isn't very scientific. I'm based completely on efficacy. If it works, I'm happy. I don't understand why it's working, but I'm very happy to see it working. And it's very, we've had so many good successes. Like I'd have to say, in my life, I do lots of different things, and maybe 10% of them are successful. But with this, if I'm doing what I'm told by the plant, we're getting a 90% success rate, which is unheard of for me. That switched things around completely for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're filled with beautiful divine love from your planting and nurturing and taking care of them as well.
Oh, there's a
And
team. There's a team of us. We're quite a
yeah,
team
can you
now.
tell us, is that part of the Northern Rivers hemp shop, the co-op or collaborative?
Uh, Look, I've got two hats that I wear. I've got topical hemp cream, which is the older of the two hats. I've been doing that for over 20 years now, which is making topical creams for cosmetic use, because for want of a legal terminology. And then we formed the cooperative, which was just to get to try and get hemp growers together to move in the same direction and to develop markets so that it's worth planting a crop. Previous to now, a lot of people have come to the industry and they've planted hemp crops and then found that they've got no use for the end product. They don't know what they're going to do with it. So we've been trying to coordinate hemp farmers with types of hemp for specific purposes, and trying to, you asked me earlier, what should our first step be? And the first step be is to have, I believe, a plan of something to aim for that you want to make. Because otherwise it's just confusing. You'll start off making something and then something else comes up which is even better and you move to that. And if you have a product that you want to do, that you want to make to do some specific purpose, if you do that, you'll automatically have a market for it and something to do with your crop. So the first most useful thing is juicing.
Yeah.
If you ever have friends with Crohn's disease or those kinds of things of the gut, the imbalances of the tummy, the shots of hemp juice are absolute magic. It works so well, and anyone can do them. It takes absolutely no skill.
I'm definitely going to put that on top of my list, because for myself personally, I've suffered with IBS for decades. And from my personal research as an aromatherapist, nearly everybody I encounter, either they've got some sort of digestive problems, or their family or friends and so forth. And it's huge. And I believe, while I was traveling in a camper van for 4.5 years, we met many scientists and pioneers, and lots of them have put the dots together about the chemicals in the land that are affecting our health. and
Yes.
it all starts in the gut. And you mentioned earlier about people taking antibiotics, and I believe that gets rid of the good and bad microbiota as well. So,
Correct. Yeah.
it takes a long time to build up the microbiota. And some people are even saying, it's the highest rate, you can Google it, it's the highest rate of children having large comorbidities like autism and ADHD and many other ailments and heart failures and
Mm,
cancers, young
mm,
children.
mm.
So what advice to the listeners could they do? You know, obviously take the cold pressed juice. But, I believe if we try and eat organic as much as possible and even grow our own plant, like you've inspired me. I'm so excited with the different plants I'm growing. And because we've
Oh,
been so busy, I just want to spend time because I send
mm,
Reiki energy healing before I plant, but now I'm going to start talking more to the plants as I'm tending to them.
wonderful. Yeah, that's really wonderful. That's how you do it. And on your little farm, well, not such a little farm, looking at it in the background there, it's huge. You can really
Yeah.
go wild. You can plant the most awesome, most beautiful plants. All these Australian natives. We've got peppermint gum. We've got all of the myrtles. But they're all healing plants. These are wonderful. All of the myrtles, the uh, eucalyptus oil, tea tree oil,
Yeah.
um, Cajaput oil, which is another Australian tree. It's another, I think that one's a carnuka, not a melaleuca. But it's it's definitely an Australian genome plant. Will grow fantastically at your place. We'll love it at your place. And is so full of goodness and so full of healing properties. That we're blessed with this country full of magic plants. And most countries don't have in fact, we've got the most diverse range of plants on the planet. This island of ours, this island continent. And your land, looking at your land there, we've got only a few hectares, 6 hectares, and we've now got it covered in healing plants, absolutely covered in them. Ginseng is the latest one we've been planting, and crikey, that one grows like a beauty. We'll definitely be incorporating ginseng into what we're doing. Definitely. It's such a wonderful plant.
Wonderful. And can you take saplings or cuttings of these plants and grow it yourself, or is it better to do it
Yes.
from seed?
No, there's seeds, cuttings. That makes no difference. Because the plants are going to produce more plants. If they're perennial, then they're just going to keep on growing. But if they're more annuals, then they're going to produce more plants. So cuttings are fine. I think echinacea. We put in a lot of echinacea. What a beautiful plant! What a useful plant! Wow. Yes. You on your place there, you're going to grow with the finest echinacea. And imagine a paddock full of those daisies, those echinacea daisies. Purple daisies, just beautiful.
Yeah, I think nature. Yeah, I think nature is the best painting and the best healer and the best remedy, because I've just noticed just being on the land is so peaceful because we've got no traffic, nothing, and like you're saying, it's like the land is talking to you. I know it called us here because this area wasn't on our list to even look at, but the universe managed to give us a nudge to come here. So, and as soon as I seen it, I fell in love.
It's beautiful because you're English. By the sound of your accent, you're English by birth, aren't you?
No, I'm actually Welsh. But a lot of people here.
It's British. British.
It is British, yeah. It's still the Freud between English and Welsh, but yeah.
Well, there could be a split between those two again. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. So Could you please share with us a personal story of success? That someone, you've given them a remedy and, they came back completely transformed and healed.
Mm. Probably the most apparent one is going to be the kunzia. That for arthritis, because that's such a common pain, arthritic pain, and so hard to deal with, so difficult to deal with. Neuralgia and all these other ones, they're really hard to deal with too. But the more common one, I would say, would be arthritis, and we just nail it. The co-op just, I mean, I don't know how much of that. They go through an awful lot of it, I know. And it's the sort of thing that really is the sort of thing that you tell your friend about. It's, if you fixed your arthritic pain and you've got a friend with arthritis, you cannot wait to tell them. So we get inundated with calls all the time, and always referrals, always somebody saying, my friend just told me I should talk to you and get some of this stuff because it really works. And we call that Kunzia Gold, that down at the co-op. And for anybody with arthritis, you just get in contact with us. We'll send you a little sample bottle and you can see how it works on you. But I think you'll find that it's a beautiful thing. That one because...
Carry on.
That one because it's pretty universal. We've had a lot of other wins with different things, but we've had a lot of failures too. I have to admit, like there's some things that are really hard to shift. Mental stuff has been a problem for us. Anything, I think we've got a handle on anxiety now. I think we're sort of getting there with topicals that are really helping with anxiety. But it's hit and miss, that one. We're still working away at that. But finding that a different blend of things. So with that one, there's St. John's wort, hypericum. So people with depression, people who are feeling really depressed and anxious, we've been mixing 2 different cannabinoids and St. John's wort. And the mixture of so CBG and CBD and hypericum, St. John's wort, we've been mixing the 3 of those together with pretty good success, but I can't call it yet. We've got to refine that one. But that's helping with people's depression. We're sort of getting there. We'll more experiments on more of our friends, and we'll see how we run.
Yeah,
friends and family.
Thank you. I was going to say I need to get some for my mother-in-law because she's getting bad arthritis and lots of pains in different areas, and we can see her deteriorating.
How old is she?
She's
80s.
88 soon. So she's done well. Yeah.
She's doing really well. Well, she's probably the one that we can do the most for. Like people of that age group, we can actually make their life a whole lot better. I'm certain we can, but we'll try with a sample jar and find out what happens, eh?
Yeah. And before you said, you're not a scientist or anything, but, the word on the street in the spiritual network now is, yes, spirituality doesn't need any proof now. And I think it's the same with the plant medicine, because plants are energetic, they're ancient and they store so much wisdom. It's not just a nice smell. Like with aromatherapy, I've been saying to people, it's not the smell. It is like a key to open the door. As it gets into your skin and your muscles, it's telling the cells, this is the work you're meant to be doing. Go out there and do it. And they're healing and fixing it. So, and you've got the wisdom carried through it from ancient times, and you're embodying that wisdom. And people are saying, look, when I started doing Reiki healing, it was a lot of, I was skeptic before I even learned about it. I didn't believe in it because I came from a nursing background, and my grandparents on maternal and paternal side, the grandfathers were all ministers in churches. And I thought, oh gosh, this must be some sort of cult or whatever. But when it worked on me, it was like, wow, it saved my
So
life. And
when it worked on you, how did it work?
I to cut a long story short, I had a near-death experience from a jealous partner trying to strangle me. I developed a massive sty on my eye, and the surgeon wanted to cut it out because it was growing and growing and growing. And the
Mm.
universe stepped in, and there was problems with the clinic. They got flooded, etc., etc. So my friend said, "That's enough. You're going to Wales from Australia. Let's go and have a Reiki." And I didn't think it worked, but a week later, when I was in Wales, someone came to visit, and it'd gone completely.
The
You know,
sty, the sty in your eye
the
had gone.
sty had gone. It was the
Wow,
size of a marble. I couldn't even open my eye.
wow.
And because I was so stressed because the ex was stalking me, that's why I went from Australia back to Wales. I didn't even
Yeah,
know that my eye could open and I could see out of it. So, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you
yeah.
have you stopped hearing the bird song yet, or is that really apparent to you, the bird song on your property? After a while,
Um,
you can just forget that it's there. It's so background and it's so there all the time. But for me, the bird song is what a healing thing that is.
yeah, yeah.
What
We
a
don't, unfortunately, at the moment have too many birds. You
okay.
know, they come for a short period. Like there was 12 ducks when we first came, and they got to 20. But they fly from all the neighbours,
Yes.
and we've got two plover birds that are very noisy. They very can be very aggressive. And we've got yesterday we've seen some cockatoos and we've seen some lorikeets, but they don't stay very long. We did have two kookaburras in the trees opposite the
Mm.
house, but I'm not sure where they are at the moment.
Hmm.
But when
Hmm.
they're there, I love them. And the biggest thing for us is the cows on the land. Just we're
Okay.
gifting cows, and they're so beautiful. Just
They're lovely,
seeing
aren't they?
the newborn calves, and I can understand now why people in India call them sacred animals because they're just
Yes.
absolutely gorgeous. And we
Yes.
also have a horse. We call him Mr. Ed because he comes to visit us every day because the owner hasn't been to his property for a few years and he wanders around, but for some reason he just stays on our land. And he
Okay.
comes up now. I gave him Reiki one day. I had a fear of horses from being thrown off a horse. And
Yes.
over the years, I've been giving friends horses on their farms Reiki. And Brian, my partner you met, said,
Yes.
give him some Reiki. So I started from a distance and then I had the courage to go really close. And now
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
comes up every day and I give him Reiki healing every day, which is
Oh, what a he
such a
loves it, eh?
blessing.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely loves it. Yeah. And the farmer who we're just in his cows, he can't believe it because nobody's been able to get close to this horse. And we've
Mm.
even bought a little horse brush so that we can brush him every day when he comes now.
Oh,
And I
great.
said to I said to Brian, I'd really love to make some cow balms as well because I know they're constantly being picked up by insects.
Yeah.
So the the bowel thing for humans is number one, and cow balms and animal balms will be number two, I think.
Okay. Well, let's look into that. Let's look into that. I'd
Yeah,
like to. I'd like to work with animals. I'll play around with a few ideas and see what I can come up with. But
yeah.
yeah,
And
I think that.
if you talk to any cow farmer, they'll tell you the same.
Mm,
They have to put special washes and different things on them to
sure.
keep different mites away from them and ticks and different things.
Yes. But usually they dip them and they put that stuff they put
Yeah,
along the spine, and that is horrible. That's truly
yeah,
horrible stuff. It shouldn't be around animals. It shouldn't be around people. There's got to be better ways of doing that, and there are, of course, there are. And the herbal ways always work. So Kunzia is called tick bush. It's
Okay.
it's a plant that first came from Tasmania, but grows easily around anywhere in Australia. And it's called tick bush because they found that the little animals would, when they got a serious case of ticks, they'd go and nestle under one of these bushes and the ticks would fall off and disappear. So the Kunzia works really well against anything like that. And putting that into a wash for your animals, there's no poison in it, there's no toxins in it, but the ticks hate it. The ticks and the other insects hate it, absolutely hate it. Will run a mile. So using something like, I'm going to give it a go. I'll have a go with that.
Oh, thank you.
I'll use a few of the different tea trees too. I'll put in some cajaput and some tea tree and a few other bits and pieces because they're all anti-mite. They're all good for any of those little critters. Yeah. And they're free. They're given to us freely.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And going back to science versus spirituality, there is a lot of people believing in intuition now. And I know you work intuitively just from, how you're sprouting out all these different names. And you've had the experience of making the oils and seeing the benefits and the results. And with a friend, Jasmine, she's a breatharian, so she lives on breath. And,
no food.
No food.
Oh.
She just connects to source. For about 35 years, she didn't have anything to drink either. And recently she started having 1 coffee a day because she did it mainly because of world hunger, and she started a peace movement. She's probably the longest living one at the moment. And the person who was the longest of all was Pradjan. And he died at 97, and he'd been a breatharian since he was either 7 or 11 years old. And he went to a cave, and he used to come down, and they'd do tests on him in the hospital once a year. And they'd put cameras everywhere to make sure he wasn't cheating. But, the doctors can tell from your bowels and everything else that you haven't had food. And so she had an interview I arranged with Dr. Gerald Taylor. So it was like science versus spirituality. And what she says is like the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. It's like, it's experiential. So me with the Reiki, and when people come to me for a Reiki, a lot of them will say, wow, they come so stressed and they leave radiant. It's like they've had a facial or something because they're glowing.
Yes.
It's most people, I call them, they're spiritually disconnected, because we have a physical mother that, usually loves us. The mother's love is sacred, and, she hugs you, and you can curl up on her lap, especially if you're breastfeeding, you've got that bond. But later on, on your lap, you curl up and you feel safe, and she teaches you every step of the way. And years and years ago, like you're talking about the ancients using the hemp, which was, in natural use. They even made it Brian's a yachty on the sails for ships, and it's used in paper and so many other things. The ancient medicine is gone, and so too is the connection with the divine mother, divine father. It's, the divine mother is crying out for everybody to communicate, because, we've been, brainwashed and programmed to think that, God is something external and we have to pray, and anything else is blasphemous, like in my case, with the indoctrination. And you just have to, pray to God as the idol, and he's outside. But through my travels and different people I've met, I've come to realize that God's within me. I've got this physical body, but my spirit has come for this experience and experience life through our senses and to have fun. You talked about the songbirds, so we've got our eyes, our nose, our mouth, and touch. And, we, our spirit mother wants to guide us. No soul is too young or old. You're not too old to start that reconnection and experience that divine love. And when I give divine love, channel it through, people feel it and they can't describe how they feel because they've never had the divine caress. But it's not me doing it because I'm just the channel. And so what I'm teaching people is to reconnect with the love inside them so that they too can remember who they truly are, remember their soul's mission and purpose.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, so not everybody is blessed like you and I to know our pathway.
Well, I'm looking at this picture of you at the moment, and your land is your mother, and it looks like she's wrapping her arms around you. That's how your picture looks right now. You're just being cuddled by your mother, and that's how I feel all the time on the farm. I feel like this is it. Thanks, Mum. It's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So the sun on your face and
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
What advice would you give to the listeners, about using the products or life in general?
Oh, well, we're at this fascinating time. We're at this fascinating time and place where it seems really dark and scary and uncertain. And it's just that it's a time of change. We're in this, it's really dark right now, but they say the deepest darkness comes before the dawn. And I think we're at that stage now. And I can feel the light coming. I can feel it over the horizon. I know that things are changing, and I know that they're changing for the better. We haven't stopped bleeding yet, and we haven't stopped the pain and the chaos yet, but it's changing, it's turning. And I really feel that the power of the earth, the power of the Great Mother, the power that has always guided and sustained us is just coming into full awakening and full force now. And I think be brave, everyone. Things are changing, and look to the future with hope and with I think expectation. I think we can expect things to get better. I believe in my heart that they are, and that now is the time to look to community, to look to nature, and to look to the things that have sustained us for thousands and thousands of years, to look to those things and to go back to them because they worked for so long. And we've only lost the criminalization of a plant was like the gun going off. That was like the starting gun for insanity. When we started making plants illegal, that was when, we're saying that God made a mistake, in other words, and it's as soon as we got up ourselves and decided that we were the answer to everything, this is when it all went wrong. And the answer is so simple. It's there. It's where we lived. It's where we came from. So let's go back to that, healing ourselves, growing our own medicines, making our own food, collecting our water. And now we've been blessed with this ability to gather our own energy with these cheap batteries that are here now and the solar panels, and energy's free. Energy has become free. And that is such a change and makes it so viable for us as human beings to live without the need of big industries and without the need of all of this stuff that's been killing us and killing our planet. It's time for a change, and we're here to make that change. And don't be scared. Step into the future with confidence, because things can only get better, and we can make them better. And I think that's what I would say to anybody, well, all my brothers and sisters out there now, that times are changing, and these terrible times that we've been going through, they're just about done. and the future is very golden.
That's beautiful. And in my heart, I believe the future is golden. And I always ask my guests if there was one thing that you could do to make our world a better place, what would it be?
Every day, do something kind.
That's beautiful. It's
Keep it
funny,
simple.
lately everybody is saying it. I interviewed Fiona Caffin yesterday and she said exactly the same. Kindness is the way forward. And what is your number one health and wellness go-to?
Well, for me, it's cannabis. I use cannabis as my balancer. Yeah. So for me, that's my own personal answer, and it's my answer to myself. But also all my brothers and sisters, hey, give it a go. You've got a system that will be good for. For me, that's that's where I come from. So that's what I go back to. Give it a go. There are no negatives in it.
Thank you. And as we come to a close, do you have anything else that you would like to share with the listeners?
No, not really. I mean, the message that I guess I'm putting out now is that it's been terrible. It's been horrible. There's been so many bad things, but we're ready now. We're ready for the change. So just be brave. It's good. We can do this. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all your words of wisdom. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and I'll put all your websites and your social media contacts within the notes. So
thank you so much. And I'll send you down a jar of something for your mum, for your mum-in-law.
Thank you. Yeah.
A bit of a kunzia mix, and we'll make a real strong one for her and see how she goes.
Thank you, and thank you to all the listeners who are supporting the show. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and thank you, my beautiful planet. Yes. See you soon, Bev.
Yes.
We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.